Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Life will knock you down, confuse you, and drain you if you let it. There comes a moment when you have to stop blaming the year, the people, the past, and the pain, and look yourself in the mirror and say, enough is enough. This is that moment. This is the season where you reset your mind, restart your purpose, and refocus your energy. You cannot step into a new season of your life with the same mindset that kept you stuck in the last one. At some point, you have to pause, take a deep breath, and make a conscious decision to reset the way you think. A reset is not about denying your past. It's about refusing to let it control your future. Too many people carry old failures, old regrets, and old disappointments into every new opportunity and then wonder why nothing changes. What you think about consistently becomes what you live out daily. Your mind is powerful. It can either be your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. When your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, you limit what you believe is possible for your life. But when you reset your mindset, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop defining yourself by what went wrong and start seeing yourself through what you can become. A reset means changing the inner conversation you have with yourself every day. It means replacing I can't with I'm learning, replacing I failed with I'm growing, and replacing it's too late with this is my time. Resetting your mindset also requires honesty. You have to be real with yourself about what's not working. Growth doesn't begin with excuses. It begins with ownership. When you stop blaming people, circumstances, and timing, you regain control of your life. You may not be responsible for everything that happened to you, but you are responsible for how you respond to it. A reset happens when you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? One of the hardest parts of resetting your mindset is letting go of comparison. Comparing your journey to someone else's will always steal your peace. Everyone has a different starting point, a different struggle, and a different timeline. When you compare, you rush your process or doubt your progress. A reset means focusing on your own lane, your own growth, and your own purpose. Progress is progress, no matter how small it looks to someone else. Resetting also means renewing your faith, faith in God, faith in your gift, and faith in your ability to rise again. Even when things don't make sense, faith reminds you that delay does not mean denial. Sometimes God allows confusion to lead you to clarity and pressure to build strength. A reset is trusting that what you're going through is not here to break you, but to prepare you. You must also reset your expectations. Life will not always move according to your plan, but that doesn't mean it isn't moving according to purpose. When you let go of unrealistic expectations and embrace patience, you give yourself room to grow. Great things take time, and strong foundations are not built overnight. A reset teaches you to respect the process instead of rushing the outcome. Finally, resetting your mindset means deciding once and for all that you will no longer live in survival mode. You are not just here to get by. You are here to grow, to impact, and to become who you were created to be. Every morning you wake up is proof that your story is still being written. Reset your thoughts, realign your beliefs, and remind yourself that the best chapters of your life are still ahead. This reset is not the end of who you were. It's the beginning of who you're becoming. Restarting your life takes courage, especially when you've already tried before. Things didn't work out the way you hoped. Many people stay stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they carry shame from past attempts. They tell themselves that starting over means they failed, that people will judge them, or that they've wasted too much time. But restarting is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of growth. It means you are strong enough to stand back up and wise enough to try again with more understanding than you had before. Every successful person you admire has restarted at some point. What you don't always see are the quiet moments of disappointment, the closed doors, and the plans that fell apart. Those moments didn't disqualify them. They prepared them. A restart allows you to take what you've learned and apply it differently. You're not beginning from zero. You're beginning from experience. That experience gives you insight, patience, and resilience you didn't have before. Shame is one of the biggest enemies of progress. It whispers that your mistakes define you and that your past has the final say over your future. But shame has no authority unless you give it power. Restarting without shame means forgiving yourself for what you didn't know then and honoring yourself for what you know now. You did the best you could with the tools and mindsets you had at the time. Growth means upgrading those tools, not punishing yourself for using old ones. Restarting also requires humility. It takes humility to admit that a direction wasn't right, a habit wasn't that healthy, or a decision didn't produce the results you wanted. But humility opens the door to transformation. When you stop pretending everything is fine and allow yourself to reset your path, you create space for real progress. There is no shame in reevaluating your goals, adjusting your plans, or choosing a new direction that aligns better with who you are becoming. Faith plays a powerful role in restarting. When you believe that God is not finished with you, starting over feels less like an ending and more like a new beginning. Faith reminds you that setbacks are often setups for growth. Just because something ended doesn't mean it failed. Some chapters close so better ones can begin. Restarting with faith allows you to move forward without bitterness, trusting that everything you've experienced is being used for your good. Another part of restarting without shame is letting go of other people's opinions. Not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. Some people will only see where you stop, not where you're going. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing growth. This is your life, your calling, and your responsibility. Restarting means choosing your future over your pride and your purpose over your comfort. Finally, restarting without shame means committing to consistency, not perfection. You don't have to get everything right this time. You just have to stay willing. Progress happens when you keep showing up, even on days when motivation is low. Each small step forward rebuilds your confidence and strengthens your belief in yourself. This restart is not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about honoring the person you are becoming. So give yourself permission to begin again. Release the guilt, drop the shame, and embrace the lessons. This restart is not a setback. It's a reset with clarity, strength, and purpose. Your courage to start again is proof that your story is still alive and the best is still ahead. In a world full of noise, notifications, opinions, and constant demands, focus has become one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Many people are not failing because they lack talent or opportunity. They are struggling because their energy is scattered. When your attention is divided, your progress slows down. Refocusing is about making a conscious decision to protect your time, your peace, and your purpose. It means choosing what truly matters and letting everything else fall into the background. Refocusing starts with clarity. You cannot aim at everything and expect to hit something meaningful. When you are clear about your goals, your values, and your priorities, distractions lose their power. Clarity helps you say no without guilt and yes without hesitation. It reminds you that not every opportunity is meant for you and not every invitation deserves your time. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. One of the biggest distractions in life is other people's opinions. When you constantly seek approval or validation, you lose sight of your own vision. Everyone has advice, but not everyone has your assignment. Refocusing means trusting the direction God placed in your heart, even when others don't understand it. The people meant to support your journey will catch up later. Your responsibility is to stay obedient to your purpose, not popular with the crowd. Another major distraction is comparison. Social media has made it easy to measure your life against someone else's highlight reel, but comparison will always distort reality and drain your motivation. When you refocus, you stop competing with others and start committing to your own growth. You realize that just you really doesn't need to look impressive. It needs to be effective. Progress made quietly is still progress, and consistency matters more than applause. Refocusing also requires you to reevaluate how you spend your time and energy. Time is one of the few things you can never get back, yet many people give it away freely to things that add no value to their future. Refocusing means setting boundaries. It means limiting access to people, habits, and environments that pull you away from your goals. This isn't selfish, it's necessary. You cannot pour into your purpose if you are constantly drained by distractions. Faith plays a powerful role in refocusing. When life feels overwhelming, faith helps you realign your priorities. It reminds you that you don't have to do everything at once and that progress happens step by step. Faith teaches patience in the process and trust in the timing. Refocusing on God brings peace because you understand that your worth is not tied to productivity alone, but to obedience and growth. Refocusing doesn't mean ignoring challenges. It means facing them with intention. When obstacles appear, a focused mind looks for solutions instead of excuses. It asks and takes action from there. Small, focused efforts repeated daily create momentum, and momentum creates transformation. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to stay focused on the next right step. Refocusing is about alignment. When your actions match your values and your goals, life feels more meaningful and less chaotic. You stop reacting to everything around you and start responding with purpose. When you refocus on what truly matters, you reclaim your power, your peace, and your direction. Focus turns intention into impact, and impact is what moves your life forward. One of the hardest but most necessary steps in personal growth is learning how to let go of what is holding you back. Many people say they want change, but they continue to carry habits, beliefs, and relationships that keep them tied to the past. You cannot move forward while gripping onto what no longer serves you. Letting go is not about loss. It's about making room for something better. Growth requires release. Often what holds you back is not something physical, but something internal. Limiting beliefs, fear, resentment, and unresolved pain can quietly shape your decisions without you realizing it. When you believe you're not good enough, not ready, or not capable, you shrink your own potential. Letting go begins with recognizing these thoughts and challenging them. Just because you've believed something for a long time doesn't mean it's true. Freedom starts when you question the thoughts that keep you small. Letting go also means releasing the weight of the past. Past mistakes, missed opportunities, and broken relationships can become emotional baggage if you allow them to define you. You may not be able to change what happened, but you can change the meaning you give it. Instead of seeing your past as proof that you failed, see it as evidence that you survived. Letting go is choosing healing over replaying pain and growth over guilt. Sometimes what holds you back is the people around you. Not everyone who walks with you is meant to walk with you forever. Some relationships are seasonal, meant to teach you something and then fade. Holding on to connections that drain you, discourage you, or pull you away from your purpose will slow your progress. Letting go of people doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you start loving yourself enough to protect your future. Distance can be an act of self-respect. Another barrier to growth is comfort. Comfort feels safe, but it can also become a cage. When you get too comfortable, you stop challenging yourself and stop evolving. Letting go of comfort means being willing to feel uncomfortable in the short term for long-term growth. It means trying again, stepping into uncertainty, and embracing change even when it feels risky. Everything you desire exists on the other side of what you're afraid to release. Faith can make letting go easier. When you trust that God has a plan greater than what you can see, you don't cling so tightly to what's familiar. Faith reminds you that endings are often beginnings in disguise. What you release today may be the very thing blocking the blessings meant for your tomorrow. Letting go is not giving up. It's handing over control and trusting the process. Letting go also requires patience with yourself. Release doesn't always happen overnight. Some habits take time to break, and some wounds take time to heal. Progress is not measured by perfection, but by willingness. Every step you take toward letting go, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom. Be gentle with yourself as you grow. When you finally let go of what's holding you back, you create space for clarity, peace, and purpose. You move lighter, think clearer, and act bolder. Letting go is not about forgetting where you came from. It's about choosing where you're going. And once you release what no longer fits your future, you give yourself permission to fully step into the life you were meant to live. Rebuilding your life requires more than motivation. It requires faith and discipline working together. Faith gives you the vision to believe that change is possible, and discipline gives you the structure to make that change real. One without the other creates imbalance. Faith without discipline leads to wishful thinking, and discipline without faith leads to burnout. When you combine both, you create steady, sustainable growth. Faith is what allows you to move forward even when the path each isn't clear. It's trusting that the effort you're putting in today will produce results tomorrow, even if you can't see immediate progress. Faith reminds you that your current situation is not your final destination. It keeps you hopeful during slow seasons and grounded during challenging ones. When you rebuild with faith, you stop expecting instant results and start trusting the process. Discipline is what turns belief into action. It's showing up consistently, especially on the days when you don't feel motivated. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline keeps you moving. Rebuilding requires daily commitment. Small actions done repeatedly over time, whether it's improving your skills, strengthening your mindset, or growing spiritually, discipline ensures that progress continues even when emotions fluctuate. Many people struggle with rebuilding because they aim for perfection instead of consistency. Discipline doesn't demand perfection, it demands commitment. Missing a day doesn't mean you fail. It means you start again the next day. Growth happens through repetition, not intensity. Small, disciplined steps create habits, and habits shape your future. When you focus on what you can do daily, the big picture begins to take care of itself. Faith also helps you stay disciplined when results are delayed. There will be moments when you work hard and still don't see immediate rewards. Without faith, those moments can lead to frustration and quitting. Faith reminds you that some of the most important work is happening beneath the surface. Just like seeds grow underground before they break through the soil, your efforts are developing strength, resilience, and character before visible success appears. Rebuilding with faith and discipline also means realigning your priorities. You have to be intentional about where your time and energy go. Discipline helps you say no to distractions, while faith helps you say yes to purpose. Together they create focus. You stop reacting to life and start responding with intention. This alignment allows you to build a life that reflects your values instead of just your circumstances. Another important part of rebuilding is accountability. Discipline grows stronger when you take responsibility for your actions. This may mean setting clear goals, tracking your progress, or surrounding yourself with people who encourage growth. Faith keeps you humble, reminding you that you don't have to do everything alone. Asking for guidance is not weakness, it's wisdom. Rebuilding is not a quick fix, it's a process. There will be setbacks, adjustments, and moments of doubt. But when faith anchors you and discipline guides you, you become resilient. You learn to keep moving forward even when things don't go as planned. Each disciplined step taken in faith brings you closer to the life you are building. In the end, rebuilding with faith and discipline is about becoming someone you can trust. It's about keeping promises to yourself, believing in your growth, and staying committed to the journey. When you trust God, trust the process, and trust your discipline, you don't just rebuild your life, you rebuild it stronger, wiser, and more purpose-driven than before. Stepping boldly into a new season of your life requires confidence, courage, and a willingness to let go of who you were so you can fully become who you are meant to be. Many people hesitate at this stage because the familiar feels safer than the unknown. Even when change is necessary, fear can make you question yourself. But boldness is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. Growth always begins when you choose courage over comfort. A new season demands a new mindset. You cannot carry the doubts, habits, and limitations of why. Bypass into the future you're stepping toward. Boldness comes from believing that you are capable of handling what's ahead. Even if you don't have every detail figured out, you don't need to see the entire path. You just need to trust yourself enough to take the next step. Confidence grows with action, not with overthinking. Fear often shows up when you're close to something meaningful. It questions your readiness and highlights everything that could go wrong. But fear is not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're stretching beyond your comfort zone. When you step boldly, you teach yourself that fear does not control your decisions. Each brave step forward builds momentum, and momentum transforms uncertainty into belief. Stepping into a new season also means owning your worth. You no longer wait for permission to grow, succeed, or pursue your calling. You understand that your value is not determined by other people's approval. Boldness is standing firm in who you are, even when others doubt you. It's choosing self-respect over validation and purpose over popularity. When you know your worth, you move differently. You speak differently, decide differently, and show up with intention. Faith plays a powerful role in bold movement. When you trust that God has guided you to this point, stepping forward feels less risky and more purposeful. Faith doesn't remove challenges, but it gives you confidence that you're not walking alone. It reminds you that every season has its own lessons and that growth often requires faith before clarity. When you move boldly with faith, you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start moving with purpose. A new season also requires release. You cannot fully step into what's next while holding on to regret, bitterness, or fear of failure. Boldness means accepting that mistakes may happen and choosing to move forward anyway. Failure is not. The opposite of success is part of the process. Each attempt teaches you something valuable. When you embrace learning instead of fearing failure, you step forward with freedom. Stepping boldly also means taking responsibility for your life. You stop waiting for circumstances to change and start becoming the change. You understand that no one is coming to rescue you. You must show up for yourself. This responsibility is not heavy, it's empowering. It reminds you that you have influence over your choices, your habits, and your direction. As you enter this new season, remember that growth rarely feels comfortable at first. There will be moments of doubt and moments of excitement. Both are part of transformation. Keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. Bold steps taken consistently create powerful change over time. This new season is not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about becoming aligned with your purpose. Step boldly, trust the process, and believe in the person you are becoming. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into growth, clarity, and a stronger version of yourself.